Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Trishna and I make videos about books mainly, and I'm planning to try out vlogging and stuff. We'll see how that goes. But currently I mainly talk about books and book to show adaptations and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, I don't know why I said that. You clicked on this video because you're interested in that. Let's just get on with it. So basically, the last video I made was more than 3 months ago. I made it in the first week of February and it's the last week of May right now. And I didn't make any videos in the middle because I had my exams going on, my final school end exams going on till April 5th. And after that, I just didn't feel like making videos. I took a break from social media as well. I haven't posted in my bookstagram for over 2 months, and I don't know, I just took a break, and I think that did me a lot of good because I got into a couple other things. I tried to do other things. I don't know, it was a good 2.5 months where I didn't have to worry about taking a video, posting it, and then making posts on Instagram. So I was a very calm week, a calm few months, and I feel like a lot happened. At the same time, nothing happened. I've just been chilling the last 2 months. I don't know. So this is mainly going to be a catch-up video about what has been happening with me, and I'm going to do a small review session at the end of the 5 books I've read in the last 3 months. As I said, exams were going on, so I didn't have time to read, and then I just was in a huge reading slump for over a month. I finally picked up pace in the last week where I completed 2 books within a week. So we are finally back. And I'm so thankful because I have this long list of books planned for Pride Month that I need to complete, that have been on my shelf for a really long time, that so many of my friends have recommended. So we have a really long list that we need to get through in June. So I'm really glad that my slump is over, and then that I'm being able to read a whole book in 2-3 days, because that's my fast pace. Usually it takes me a week to complete a book. That's normal for me. So I'm really glad that I'm back. And yeah, so I don't know when I'll post this, but hopefully before June. Today is the 29th of May, so I have 3 days, 2 days, whatever. Hopefully by tomorrow I'll be done with this. So you will hopefully be getting, I keep saying hopefully because I know that my mind keeps changing. So if my brain is on my side, you will be getting a couple more videos in June because I have a lot planned. So yeah, here's to hoping. So yeah, about the catch-up session or whatever this is. Oh, by the way, this hopefully again will be a short video because I need to go out with my friends. I think that's the reason I'm doing this video, because I've been postponing this video for over a week. This was supposed to be in the mid, I came up with this idea of doing this video in on 15th or 14th of May, and I've been postponing it for almost 12 days, 13 days, whatever, because I didn't have the energy, and I'm a born procrastinator. But I am going out with my friends today, and I was like, anyway, I have to get ready, so let's just do a video. So we are here, and I'm sorry my hair is a mess because I washed it 2 days ago, and I don't have the energy to really do anything with it. So you're just going to look at this. So yeah, my exams, they started so these in India, it's boards are a very, it's not that important, but people hype it up to be these most important exams, and they are going to decide your future. They don't. But yeah, I had those exams from 24th of February till April 5th, which is a very long time, and I hated it. I wish they would have just completed all the exams in 2.5 weeks, but we had to go through it for over a month. But yeah, so they started on 24th Feb and went till 5th April. And fortunately all my exams went pretty well. Our results came out a couple weeks ago, and I'm really happy with my results. So Yeah, so during the exams, I was very stressed, especially in the second half of March, because I had three exams. Like I had one, two exams like very spaced out. Like I had 20 days between two exams, and then the next three exams were smudged into a week. So it was just horrible for me, but like, I don't really care, it's over. And I didn't really care much about the exams either, because I'd already gotten my uni acceptance and it was a confirmed offer. So until I passed, they didn't really care how many marks I got. So I wasn't worried about my boards, but exam stress. And I'm kind of a perfectionist, so it's not even like I can just be like, I don't care, let's just study one or two chapters and just go write an exam. I'm not like that. So, like, I pulled all nighters and it was just horrible. So, yeah, that was for a month, more than a month, that was where I was at. And um, I didn't really have the energy or the patience to do these. I didn't have the time. So now I'm back, and yeah. So my results came, right. So I got 100 in fashion. Like, I was so happy about that. So basically, in CBSE boards, our marks are split between theory exam and then practical exams. So I think fashion was my hardest practical, because we had a 4 hour long practical where we had to stitch stuff, where we had to paint stuff, and it was just a lot of things. So even though it was an easy practical, it was the longest one, because my others were just viva. So for those of you who don't know what viva is, it's just the examiner will ask you questions and you have to answer them orally, and mostly they are based on the practical aspect of the subject, not the theoretical. So my fashion was my hardest. I'm so glad I got full in theory and practical. I got 100 and I was so happy, because actually I expected to get 100 in mass media, which is one other subject, but unfortunately in that I got 97. I don't know where the 3 marks went, because they don't tell us. So yeah, but I'm still happy I got 100. My total percentage of all 5 subjects was 91.6, and I'm not very happy with that. I wish I would have gotten higher, obviously. The problem was everything else was pretty good, like all my other subjects. My history, which I hate, I got 76 in it. And I mean, I expected I would get less, because the paper was terrible. It was so hard, and I didn't know most of the objective. So I knew I wouldn't get like above 80, 85, but still 76. Like, because of that, my entire percentage came down. If we ignore history, then my total percentage is, I think, 95 or 96 around. So yeah, history is the reason everything in my life goes to hell. But yeah, so yeah, I'm happy with my results. Like 91.6 is still really good. It's just not what I expected. But then again, life is like that, so who really cares? So what I started doing in the middle of exams to like cope with me like literally wanting to cry, is I started going to the gym in like the second or third week of February. And at first it was just like to get out like extra energy that I had, because I was just sitting at home and studying. So at first it was just that, but then I started lifting weights and stuff, and I think I'm in love with the gym right now. It's so much fun. I saw this reel the other day that said the gym is just a playground for adults, and I completely agree with that. It's just so much fun, and I just love it. And I spend like 2 hours there, to at least every day, and it just helps me get out any frustration I have or feelings of anger. I've always not liked the way my body looked, and it wasn't about the weight or anything. It was just stuff. Like, even when I was thin back in like sixth, seventh grade, I didn't like my body, the way it looked. So now, either like, it's a slow process. I still don't like love my body, which I'm trying to do, but we are getting there. I feel like building muscle, and that like seeing your muscles like when you're flexing and stuff, it just gives me a lot of happiness. And even though I have a lot of weight in my midriff, I do not care about that anymore. I'm solely focused on like building muscle. So it's also distract me from the whole body dysmorphia thing. So I'm happy about that. And yeah, and it's a healthy way of living. So it's nice. And actually the main reason I started going to the gym is so that I didn't feel guilty eating like 2 3 cups of ice cream a day or a cake or stuff like that. And now you still should not feel guilty, but now I'm like, I'm going to the gym anyway, so who cares? So I'm eating whatever I want, and that's amazing. So yeah, all that's been going on. And in the middle of not middle, when did we leave? Oh, on the 1st of May, yeah, I think, yeah, wait, yeah, so that on yeah, so at the end of April, 1st of May, whatever, we went to Kashmir. So that's like a state in the northernmost state in India. So India, especially South India where I live, it is very hot here all throughout the year. Like even our winters, you will find days where it's pretty warm, right? So this area is very humid and warm and stuff. So our family has this thing where every summer, whenever we go to vacation, it has to be a hill station or like a mountainous area. And India has the Himalayas, so we usually go where like around the states near Himalaya. And Kashmir, I think, is the coldest state in India, if I'm not wrong, or maybe Uttarakhand. I don't know. But yeah, so we went to Kashmir and it was a week long trip. And it was so much fun. I mean, the first day was horrible because we had to trek almost 15 kilometers to go to this, like, it was a temple called Vaishno Devi, and it's like in India and Hinduism, it's like considered a pilgrimage. Like, you should visit it at least once. I don't believe in that. Like, I don't believe in Hinduism. So I was just there for the trek, but it was horrible because while we were going up, it was okay. It took us, I think, 3 and 4 hours. So it was fine while we were going up. But while coming down, it started raining and it was so cold, like literally. So they have like this pathway where you can go. You don't have to like hike on the mountain. They made a path like down the hill, and they have like grills on the side, right, so that you don't fall off. And like the literally cloud was like coming inside the pathway from the grill, and it was like so fucking cold and I was shivering. And the week before we went, I had so I was learning how to ride a motorcycle, like a bike, scooty. I don't know if scooty is said outside of India, but yeah, I was learning how to drive that, and I fell and I hurt my knees, both my knees, really bad. My right knee, it was a surface level thing, so like just my skin came off. But on my left knee, I like fell on my, I don't know how, but like the bike also fell on me, right? So I don't know if it was the muscle or the bone, but something like internally got hurt. So every time I was bending it, it was hurting. So thankfully by the end of the week, I was okay, like it didn't hurt. So I was like, I can do this. I mean, we were still like cautious so that I don't like hurt myself again. But while going up, it didn't really hurt that much. Like maybe in the last kilometer it started really like throbbing, but then once we went up, we like sat down there for a while and we didn't have to climb for a while because we went and visited and then came out. And so like for an hour I didn't have to do anything. And then once we came down 1 kilometer, I was fine, like okay. And then from the second kilometer, it started hurting so bad. Like I could not bend my knee, and because I was walking so slow, my like I started like becoming really cold because it was so cold. I started freezing up, and this was at the night because if you do it during the day, by the time you reach, it's afternoon or evening, and then once you're coming down, it'll be night, and it's just like I don't know. So we started like going up around like 12:30, and then our darshan, which was like pilgrimage, whatever, it happened around like I think 5:30 in the morning, and then we started coming down around 6. And oh my god, it hurt so bad. Like I was ready to just sit down and roll off the cliff. So it was that bad. But then once we came back to the hotel, we just slept it off. And then the next day it was mainly traveling, so I didn't really have to walk. So that was like a good healing process. So it was fine. And then after that we had fun. We went to a lot of places. There was snow, which for some people is common. For Indians, especially South Indians, we get to see it once in a year, so it's really fun. We went to this really snowy area on a cable car, and then my sister and I, for the first time, we built a snowman, which was quite fun. I know I'm like a 17-year-old saying like built a snowman for the first time, but it was really fun. And my sister and I, we had fun, so it was a good trip, except for the first day. It was horrible. But yeah, and what did we do after that? In the last few weeks, I've just been chilling. I watched a couple of new shows. I started watching New Girl, sitcom, I think in the middle of my midterms last year, and I watched like 1.5, 2 seasons. I watched like 1.5, 2 seasons, and then I think I stopped watching because my exams came and they just never went back to it. And also I was getting a little bit annoyed. I don't know. But anyway, after my exams got over, after my exams got over, I started watching it again. I think I started from the second season and I completed it, and I think it is a really fun show. It is very different from the sitcoms I usually watch. Like my favorite sitcom is Brooklyn Nine-Nine and then Modern Family, and it's very different from sitcoms like that, but it has its own vibe. It's really cool. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think they could have ended the show after sixth season, maybe another episode like an epilogue, but they made an entire season as an epilogue, which is set 3 years later, and that season just flopped. Like the jokes weren't really hitting the mark, and there was just too much happening that felt rushed, even though it's 3 years later in the span of I think 2 months, I think 10 episodes. They tried to fit in so many things and it just didn't work. So I think they should have ended it after sixth season, because the sixth season was really funny and the last episode of sixth season was so fucking cute. So I think they could have just added another episode in sixth season and be done with it, but they decided to add another season. It was okay. I don't really care. I also rewatched Brooklyn Nine-Nine during my exams, because Brooklyn Nine-Nine is like my comfort show. I can watch the same episode so many times. I think by now, if you show me the first minute, or not even a minute, maybe, yeah, first minute of an episode, and I'll tell you what happens in that episode. I can repeat lines to you, and it's just I'm obsessed with the show, okay? And I just love it so much. And I think I rewatched it once, and then now I started again from the fifth season, because the first 4 seasons I think I watched it way too many times. So I started my rewatch again from fifth season. I don't know. I just do that. So yeah, I have this thing where I will be watching a show or something, but I always need to have a sitcom on hold. So like if I'm feeling down, I'll just put an episode of that sitcom. So I'm planning to start Friends, but then that's a huge commitment, and I already know a lot of things and some things that I don't like. So I'm still like debating whether I should do that. So like Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a, you can just put it on. I'll watch it. I'll watch as many times as you want me to. It's really funny, and most of the time, especially the last two seasons, it has a lot of important. Why am I forgetting words? Okay, the last 2 seasons especially, it has a lot of important things that it addresses. So it's not just about it being funny, it's also really heartwarming and teaches you stuff. Like I don't live in the US, so like I learned a lot about like the Black Lives Matter and stuff from shows and like obviously articles, but like these shows presented to you in a funny way. And thankfully, I was informed about it. But there are a lot of people who don't live in the US, or maybe they do live in the US and still don't know about these stuff. things. So a sitcom like addressing that really gives you an opening into learning about things. And yeah, so I think that's really good, and a lot of people didn't like the last season because it spoke about all of these things, and it is supposed to be a sitcom, but they need to understand that sitcoms are also like, especially Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it's happening, like this could be a thing that is actually happening in real life, and they should be addressing things that have happened, things that are affecting so many people who are living there. So yeah, I think it's really important, and I really, that's why I really like the last season, especially second last season also pretty good, but yeah, that's why I think it's so important. I also watched my first K drama, which was, I I mean, till last year, if you'd have said I would be crying over a K drama, I would have laughed, because I always thought K dramas were these sappy, feel good things. But one of my friends, a new friend that I made who's amazing, she recommended Vincenzo. So it's a K drama. It has crime and legal stuff, but it was such a good story. I loved it so much. It is 20 episodes, which isn't long, but each episode is 1.5 hours. And I think I calculated that, that's I think 16 hours around. So I watched that in 6 days, which is unhealthy, very unhealthy. So I watched in the first 2 days, I watched like 2-3 episodes, and then I was talking to my friend and I was like, I'm spending so much time on this, I don't think it's good. So I'll be like watching one episode a day, and that went downhill because from like I think sixth or seventh episodes, things like the pace picks up so quick. The first 2-3 episodes are kind of, I won't say boring, but they are slow. Like things are happening, but in a like slow. But from the fifth or sixth episode, the pace picks up and things are happening, and you're like invested. And then I watched 7 episodes in a single day, and I went unhinged basically. But it was an incredible show, and I think I'm in love with the main character, which is not healthy because he is literally a murderer. But morally great characters, like those are my weakness. But also he like, I was having this discussion with a friend because she's reading this book called Haunting Adeline, and I don't know if you have heard about it. If you haven't, you're literally living under a rock, because it's been all over Book Talk and Bookstagram. Bookstagram not as much, but it was still there. Book Talk, it's still going on, and it's the I haven't read it, but she posts like snippets of it on her story, and I spoke to her about what the book is about. And I'm horrified that anyone would love this book because the guy is a stalker and whatever. So basically, the discussion we were having yesterday is that he thinks, the main character of that book, the guy, he thinks that because he is murdering these rapists and sex traffickers, he is a good man because he's removing them from the world. But then we had a discussion regarding whether him justifying his murdering by saying the people he's murdering are bad is a good enough reason for him to be a murderer. And then he doesn't even think of himself as a criminal. He thinks he's doing like God's work. And we had a discussion about that. And then I was thinking about like Vincenzo, because he also kills people. But then I came to the conclusion that I like him from not like, I don't love him or anything. I just like his character because he agrees that what he's doing is wrong, that he is a villain. Like he literally states that I am a villain and that I'm evil. But at the end he says sometimes you need evil to fight against evil. And I get that. And for most of the show, he also like tried for like whoever the villains, for them to go to jail with his lawyer methods or whatever. And at the end, when something happened, he was like, nope. And then stuff happens, right? So I was like, So we had that discussion, and I think it's really important to address stuff like that, because we always, especially while reading fantasy and dark romance, we always see this, that the guy, or like the main guy, will be a murderer, but then you justify his actions saying that the people he's murdering are also bad. But that does not defend against the fact that he's also a criminal, because he is killing people. And I've always been on edge about the whole death penalty thing in the law, like court and all, because I don't think anybody should have the right to take away someone else's life. And punishing them in different ways is still possible. Like prison, like exists for a reason, right? So is killing like the right way? So I've always been on the edge of death penalty for anything. So now, especially after like that discussion, it made me think more, like, if you are killing a person who has killed someone else, how are you better than that? Anyway, I don't know how I stumbled upon this. I was just talking about K dramas, but yeah. So Vincenzo was my first K drama. I love the actor who plays Vincenzo. He's so fucking handsome. I love the characters. They are really, like, I felt like they were really well rounded. Like you understood their motives and why they were doing the things they did, and you could really see that they were three-dimensional characters. So I was really happy about that, because nowadays the shows I've been seeing, I don't know, it's just like this is their character trait and this is their entire personality. It just does not click well with me, so I really like that. And the couple, so cute. And I I'm just in love with them. They're so cute. They were so wholesome. And throughout the show, you like get these small moments of them like really appreciating each other and then falling in love more. And mm, I love it. And so, if you have like a couple of K drama Rex, please do comment below and let me know, because I will eat that shit up. I'm in love with K dramas. I'm planning to start the next one, I think today or tomorrow. We'll see. My friend should give me Rex. But yeah, so on the note of like friends and stuff, my university, like my, I think classes are starting from 24th July, and my move-in date is like 1 week before that, which unfortunately is on my birthday. And I'm still like seeing whether I will go the day before my birthday or the day after, because I have to travel in car for 10 hours, and I'm not going to do that on my birthday. So it's either going to be the day before or the day after. But if I go the day after, there are like a few like problems. So I'll probably have to travel the day before and spend my birthday there, which I'm not very excited about. But also, like, my friends here, one of them is moving to US this week on 31st, and so it'll just be a couple of us. And I don't know, we'll see. I don't know. That's not the priority right now. What I was talking about is that I made a couple of friends, because from the university already, because our university made these like buddy groups where like 30 to 40 of us have like one or two seniors who are in their second or third year who we can just talk to. So they made like a WhatsApp group with us and them. And then all of us from there, I think 4 or 5 buddy groups, and all of us from these buddy groups, we made an Instagram account so that we can talk without like the seniors or the university like looking like being in our business. So we made an Instagram group and we started talking about like just chatting there, and I met these 3 girls who are like so amazing, and I think I'm in love with them. So yeah, we became friends really quick. We have a lot of common interests, and it's just really nice that I already know people and that I like some of them, because I would have been so like anxious and terrified if I had gone to the campus on the first day and didn't know anybody there, because I don't think anybody from my school or even from around like my circle from other schools is coming to this university. So I would have been terrified because I literally wouldn't have known anybody. So I'm so glad that I know people through this like group and stuff, and I've made friends, and I really like those friends. So I'm really looking forward to spending like the next 4 years with them. And I also really like my university. So I'm going to study psychology and minor, like major in psychology and minor in literature, or maybe double major in both of them. I don't know, we'll see. So these are decisions that are, well, like I have to decide my major and minor at the end of my first year. So that's a whole year later. So I have time to decide that. So I'm not really worried about that. So yeah, I made new friends and I'm really glad about that. um I'm also like uh I'm maybe going to another state with my mom next month because she has work there, so I might be meeting one of them even before uni starts. So like a lot of things are happening and I'm really glad, because in my present school, so I moved to the school, I mean, not present school anymore, I graduated. But my previous school, I moved to that when after my 10th grade, before my 11th, so to study 11th and 12th. And I knew nobody there. And it was like the first 2 weeks were really scary. And I'm so glad that the school started like in online mode, because this was in 2021. So schools in India hadn't really opened till then. So we started online. We were online for I think 4 or 5 months before we went offline. So I think we went offline in November. So July, whatever. So 3 4 months we were online. So in online, you just start talking and like on Insta or through the WhatsApp groups about of the different subjects. So I made a couple of friends online, but the first few weeks I was like so scared. Plus I have social anxiety kind of. So I was like, can I message them? Like, will that be weird? And how do I like make new friends? Because in my old school, I'd been in my old school since like first till 10th grade. So like in those 10 years, especially in like the last 5 years, I didn't really have to make friends. Like I knew people, people knew me, and if we started talking, it happened. But like when you're in a new environment, and especially in a school where a majority of these students are like have been in the school for years, and you're like you were just dropped there. So I was really scared that I would not make friends, and even if I did, they would not like me. So I mean, at the end I made friends who were amazing. Like the five of us, we love each other, great group of friends, whatever. But I was again like that same fear came back when this group was made. I was like, oh shit, people are going to, especially on Instagram, I post the most unhinged shit on my stories, and I was like, shit, they're going to see the stories and think I'm a weirdo and not want to talk to me. But then one of my friends, new friends from uni, she like the first time we spoke, I don't know how we started talking, but we weren't clicking till then. And then once I went to the gym or something, and I posted a pic, like a mirror selfie, and said something, and like my legs are killing me or something, because it was leg day. And then there's one of my friends, like she replied to that story, and she was like, oh my god, you go to the gym, me too. And then we started talking about gym and how hard it is to build muscle. And then we just became friends like that. So I think it worked in my favor, but at the same time, it's hard. So I was really glad that I made friends this week. And what else has been going on in my life? Hmm? I don't think anything else has happened. I'm planning to get back on Booksta as well. So like posting this video, and then hoping to post a Pride Month like list for Pride Month on June 1st if I'm done making it. I'll see, I'll probably make it after I come home today. But yeah, so I'm planning to get back on social media and make videos, post on Insta and all that. And I'm really excited about that. And what else is there? Oh, my reviewing of books. Okay, so the last book I read was Know My Name by Chanel Miller. That was the last book I reviewed on my January wrap up. So after that, I read this book called Single Dad's Club, and it was a cute romance, but the problem is it was very short. I think it was 260 to 70 pages or something. And it was a no from me. Normally, I love single parent romances because it's just like the inclusion of a child is like cute, and sometimes it's depressing because if the other parent died or something. But in this, it wasn't like that. It was very confusing at first, because this the main male character's point of view is very weird. I don't know, I just didn't like it. And then the female character, I felt like the author was building up to this like big reveal, which never came, like something about their past that they have hidden, and it just felt like they were hiding stuff, but then there was nothing to hide. So yeah, it was just weird. And I didn't love the female male character either. The whole story felt very rushed. Like, I mean, obviously, if it's like into 260 pages, what did you expect? But like, it felt very rushed. And the third act conflict was just nonsensical to me. Like, it felt like bullshit. Like, why would you fight about such a thing? I don't know. They just like, it felt like it was so made up. Like, in real life, that would not happen. I don't know. I just didn't like the book, and it was. Uh, the romance was kind of cute. Like the small scenes that they had were kind of cute. So I gave it 3 stars. It was an okay read. Like, okay, nothing else to say. Next, I read Spy Families Volume 6, and I'm sorry, but I don't remember what happens in this book. I gave it 4.5 or 5 stars because Spy Family is like really good. But I cannot tell you what like happens. I think that, what was her name? Nightfall, the other agent from, like, she was a trainee under Twilight, and she like enters the picture, and she's like jealous of Yor, and tries to like show Twilight that she would make a better wife than Yor, and that she should be on the mission with him, and something, basically a lot of toxicity and jealousy. uh, I didn't love it because there was very little Yor and why am I forgetting names? Shit, what is her name? What is the daughter's name? Anya. Oh my god. I'm bad with names. Anyway, there wasn't a lot of Yor and Anya in the book. It was mainly just Twilight and Nightfall, which I wouldn't have minded, but she was very toxic. Like, she kept comparing herself to Yor, and then she kept complaining about how Twilight doesn't see her. And so, yeah, we don't support women on women fighting in this house, especially over a man. Like, that's not what we do here. So it was okay. I still liked it. It was funny. So like, obviously. So I read that, and then so basically from 20th or 21st, from 20th March to 27th March, there was the trans rights readathon. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it was a huge thing on especially Instagram and Book Talk, where for a week we just put everything down. You had to read as many trans books as you could, and you could raise money for trans organizations and NGOs, because at that time, even now, the anti-trans and transphobic bills are being passed all over the US, and it has gotten much worse since then, I feel like. So during that time, they were trying to raise money through the bookish community, so we had a trans rights readathon, and unfortunately that was during the week of my 3 consecutive exams, which was scary. So I could not read more than a book. Even reading this one book was very hard for me. It took me a whole week to read this, which is a reread, and it still took me a whole week. So this is I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. This is one of my favorite books of all time, all over any genre. This is like the book that I go back to when I need a good cry, and it's just really wholesome, and it also taught me a lot of things. So basically, I read this the first time in the first, I think, March or February of 2021, And that was just when I started reading queer books. I think this was my first trans book. So that was just when I first started reading queer books, and I didn't know a lot, especially about transgenderism, like transgender people or like non-binary people. And this book helped me figure out that I was non-binary, so that as well. So it just holds a lot of value to me, and it has just like done so much in my life. Like, I've gotten so much out of this book that it's just really special to me. And Mason Deaver is an incredible author. Like, if a book can make me cry like 7 different times, deserves a 5 star. Like, it was incredible. And Mason Deaver, like, they always make it a point to, like, if I um mention them on a story, like tag them, and they see that, they try to like reply. And sometimes if I reply to their story or something, they reply, and they're a really nice person. So yeah, I wish you all the best. I decided to read it for the Trans Rights Marathon because I knew that if I started a new book, I would be absorbed by it and I would try to complete it, which would distract me from my exams. And at that point, for me, my exams were more important. So I didn't want to start a new book, especially a trans book, because I knew I would like cry or something, and I didn't want all that. I mean, I still cried, but like I knew what was happening in this book because I'd read it before. And I've reread a couple of scenes a lot of times over the last 2 years. So I knew what was happening. So I didn't like get fixated on the book, like I have to complete this tonight. So I spaced it out, I completed it over the week, and it was again a wholesome read. I annotated it this time, and my annotations are usually just very unhinged and stupid, but I tried to actually write some sensible things in this. And yeah, so I actually am planning to read another book by Mason Deaver for June. So basically, they have this and two other books released. Unfortunately, I haven't read the other two, even though I love them. Is because I love the other is because um both of them I want to like get the hard copy so that I can annotate them, and this hard copy feels more personal to me. So I want to get the hard copies, but they are extremely costly in India, and I don't have the money right now. I'm trying to save up, but we'll see if I can buy a feeling of falling in love. I will. If not, then I'm planning to read it online, and maybe later on I will get the hard copy and I can reread it and annotate it. That would be fun. I'm doing that with Percy Jackson right now, and it is a journey. But yeah, so I read this in March. I think I completed it on 28th, and I have a review written, which I think I have to like edit it a little bit. But I wrote that review in the last week, like in the first week of April, and I still haven't posted it on Goodreads or Instagram. I don't know why, but yeah, we shall post that as well. So then, since March 27th, I didn't read an entire book for April. Like, I did not touch a book. And then when I was going on my Kashmir trip, I needed to take a book. Like, we were traveling for hours, so I had to take a book. So I took this, because even the last time I reread it, so reread this the first time, I think 2022. That time too, we were traveling, and I was like, let's just reread this. So I was traveling to Ooty, and I reread this, and this time I was traveling to Kashmir, and I got through I think halfway in that 1 week, and then I completed the second half in the last, I think, this last weekend. So why am I rereading Percy Jackson? I do not know. I mean, I do know. So basically, Chalice of the Gods, it's the sixth book in this series. That's coming out in September, and The Sun and the Star came out, I think, in the beginning of May. So unfortunately, I cannot read Sun and the Star because it's set after the Trials of Apollo, and I never completed Trials of Apollo because I picked up the first book in 8th grade, and I completed the first book. Unfortunately, my 8th grade ass thought that it was boring, so I just never went back to the second book. I just moved on from my Riordanverse phase, and I got into like high fantasy and stuff. So I just never went back to it, and then now I regret it because I want to read The Sun and the Stars so bad, but I don't want to spoil myself or what will happen in Trials of Apollo. So I'm rereading this entire series, and then I will reread House of House blah, blah, blah. Heroes of Olympus. Why did I say House of Olympus? I was thinking about House of Hades. Anyway, so I'm planning to reread these five, and then Heroes of Olympus, and then Trials of Apollo, and then I'll finally get to Sun and the Star because I love Nico and Will so much, and I need that. So yeah, so I started rereading it. Hopefully I'll be done with the reread this year. Honestly, I don't know because I have so many books, other books that I need to read, and I don't want to spend the entire year rereading either. So yeah, we'll see. So I started this, and it was a very, I felt like my perspective about a lot of things that happened in the book changed so drastically in the 5 years, and I hope it did. I mean, I was in sixth grade, I was 12 years old when I first read it, and now I'm 17. So I'm glad that my perspective has changed, that I'm seeing things in a more mature light. But yeah, it felt very different, and then I basically forgot entirely what happened in these books. I remember a bit what happened in this because I reread it the first time in 2022, but the others I haven't read in the last 6 years. So I completed Sea of Monsters after that, and it felt like I was reading the book for the first time because, except for the characters, I knew nothing. Like, I didn't remember what happened after what, I didn't remember how the book ended, and it was just a blur. So this has been happening, and it's been really fun. I started the third book last night, and it's been really fun. I mean, it's Percy Jackson, obviously it's fun, but also I wanted to talk about this is that I've seen a lot of people who don't like Percy Jackson or like hate on it, basically say like one of the reasons is that they describe monsters and people like the other campers in a very bad way. Like, so basically in the first book we see Percy like be very stereotypical and be like, Aries children are all muscular and always angry and mean looking and stuff, and that Aphrodite kids are these like shallow people who only care about the way they look and don't care about anything else. And I wanted to talk about that because I reread it, right? And when I heard people talk about that, I was like, they aren't wrong, like he does do that. But then I read these two books, and you see so much of a difference in the way Percy sees the other campers from this book to this book. And then I started to think about that, and I realized that in this book he is 11, 12, and when you're 11 and 12, that is the way your brain works. Like, you're very one-dimensional about the way you perceive things, and once you hit like puberty, that's when you start seeing that there are so many different ways a thing can be looked at. Like, so that's the difference in your point of view, difference in your perspective. And you see that in these two books because you see like Percy going from being very like stereotypical about the way people look and being like monsters are ugly and stuff, and then in the second book you see like he's slowly growing up. Like, he sees that these people also have like different dimensions to them. They are not just the kids of Aries, they have different things that they care about, and you see all that. And then you see that he also cares about monsters. Like, he knows that they also have a life, and you see him grow up. And I think that is one of the reasons these books are really good, because they show kids that there are phases to life, and you'll understand what is going on better as you grow up, and that not everything is as hopeless or stupid as you may think when you're like 12, 11, 12. So yeah, I think these are amazing. I miss them a lot, and I'm so glad we're back. And I just like, my Persabeth is like was my first like real couple that I was like rooting for. I was like, please, I need them to be endgame and stuff. So I'm really glad I'm getting to reread that, because like they're so cute. And you should have seen my like every single interaction in this book between Percy and Annabeth. I have like my babies written or hearts drawn, because like I have a personal attachment to them and their characters and their relationship, and I cannot wait for their first kiss in book 4. So yeah, I'm just like going through these books. I completed this in 3 days. I mean, it's a very small book. I think it's 260 pages. It's a very small book, but I still completed it in 3 days, and I'm really proud of myself for that. So yeah, these are the 5 books I've read since March. So since February. Yeah, 4 months and I read 5 books. That's horrible. But I can't do anything. Anyway, I wanted to talk about my physical TBR for June, Pride Month. So first we have Kate in Waiting by Becky Albertalli. This was gifted to me on my birthday because my friends know I love a good queer romance. So I'm really looking forward to this. I've never actually read a Becky Albertalli book. I don't know why. I mean, I think I started Love Simon and then just never got to finishing it. But yeah, looking forward to this. Then we have Six Times We Almost Kissed and the One Time We Did. So this is by Tess Sharp, and if you don't know, one of my favorite thrillers of all time, The Girls Have Been, was written by her, and I was obsessed with that book. I still kind of am, but for a whole year, in 2021, I was obsessed with that book. And so she has written a sapphic romance, and apparently it's very sad, which we love. So yeah, I'm really looking for this as well. This was released, I think, in January of this year, and I finally got the book at the beginning of May, and I'm looking forward to reading it. I mean, look at the cover, it's so cute, like so cute. And then we have The Lucky List by Rachel Lippincott. She wrote the shit. What was the book's name? She Gets the Girl, right? Yeah, She Gets the Girl. So she's the author of She Gets the Girl, and I loved that book. It was, I mean, the ending could have been better, but overall the story, and it was really cute. So she's really good at writing sapphic romance. I trust her in this as well. And again, the cover, we love seeing covers like this. So these are 3 books, and then we have Last Night at the Telegraph Club. This has been on my shelf for over a year. I think I got this at the end of 2021, and it's just been on my shelf. I don't know why I have not got into it. It just feels like it would use a lot of brain power to understand this, because this is set in the past, I think in 1920s or 1954. But yeah, it's also a sapphic romance. I like that most of these are sapphic romance, as they should be. So yeah, that's Last Night at the Telegraph Club. And then we have Charm Offensive by Alison Cochran. I started this, I think, at the beginning of 2022. I read like, I think, 1 chapter and then stopped for some reason, and then never got back to it. But I'm planning to, because the love interest is of Indian origin, and we love seeing Indian origin characters. So that's the Charm Offensive. So these are the books for Pride, and I have a lot of books. These are on the physical TBR. I have a lot of books recommended by my friends that are on my ebook TBR, and I will see how many I can get through. Hopefully I can get through all of these and then go to my TBR. But I have a lot of non-binary and trans books on my ebook TBR that I really, really want to read. Like, one of them is Hell Followed With Us. Hell Followed With Us. And then a lot of them, I don't remember the names, but yeah, so I'm planning to read all of those. I will hopefully make a video. My next video is going to be a guide to the Osman verse, and I'm going to tell you how, like, because I've read all of Alice Osman's books, I can finally make a video about them. So like a small reviewing video, as well as like how you can read, like, because all of her books are connected in a sense, so which book you should read first and all of that. So I'll be doing that. Hopefully it will be out by the first week of June, if I have made it, which we don't know if I will. We'll see. But yeah, that's the plan. And I hope you like this video. I don't know, I was just rambling for most of it. I don't even know what I said. Somebody recently asked me, Trishna, do you, like, how do you make script for your video and how do you follow it? I'm like, you really think that these unhinged videos are coming out of a script? Because I don't. I usually just talk out of my ass. Sometimes, if I'm feeling generous, like today, I made a list of the things I needed to talk about, but there is no script. I'm just saying whatever is coming to my mind, and it is coming out of my mouth. That's it. No script, nothing. So this was also a rambling video. I'm sorry if you were bored. I'm happy if you found my whatever is going on interesting. But yeah, so that is the end of today's video. This was a very chill video. I spent barely any time making it. I mean, it is going to be a long video, but I didn't have to think about it before making it, so that's nice. So yeah, that's today's video. I hope you liked it. I hope you had some fun. If you have recs for queer books or for K-dramas, please. So my camera ran out of battery, but yeah, so if you have any recs for queer books or K-dramas, please drop them in my comments. I would love to go through them. I would love to watch and read them. And if you want to connect with me on any other social media, all my links are down below. You can follow me on Goodreads and Instagram. I'm going to start posting more on Instagram again, so you can go there, do that. And I will hopefully be back with another video very soon, so look out for that. And bye, have a nice day, and I hope you had a really fun May. Bye.